Hey, everybody. My name's Ryan Atkinson, and you on this cloud. We have a conversation with AnnMarie Wakely, the founder of Heron, on the podcast today. Really fun conversation as we talk about how she started Heron, how she is making renting simple, the hat she wears within the company, where she's taking the company, all the driving logistics. It's a really fun conversation, really opens up to like what this startup is doing. So I'm excited for you guys to check it out. It's a fun conversation. So let's dive in. So AnnMarie, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm super excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I want to go back to May 2020. Heron is officially born. Before you get to that point, before you press publish, can you take us a little bit? How did that build up? Take us what happened in the moment and actually pressing publish on the website.
Yeah, so I moved to, before I lived in Austin, I graduated college and lived in Richmond, and I worked in investment management, recommending international stocks to a portfolio manager. So that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of experience. I learned a lot about a bunch of different businesses and different business strategies. It was an awesome experience. I really loved it, and I loved where I worked, but I knew I wanted to do something a little more focused. My dad had had his own small business, and that was like a big part of our whole family's life. So I was wanting to work in some, maybe like a corporation. I'm from Savannah's a pretty small town. We don't have a lot of big business there.
Yeah.
So my friend from up north think it's so funny, like from big cities, but I didn't know anyone whose parents worked at like a corporation or anything. So it was neat to me. And that was what I kind of moved to Austin to try. And I took a little bit of time off and before I started looking for jobs, but I kept running into the same problem. I was living in a much smaller apartment than Richmond. So it was a lot more expensive. My apartment in Richmond was 2 bedrooms and right by the Capitol, like all these windows, literally. And then my apartment here was like 600 square feet for the same price. So I had gotten rid of a bunch of furniture, but also a bunch of like one-off items you needed to use. So like a drill to put up some shelves. But I mean, I was only going to put up shelves once. So I didn't really want to buy a drill. Or I wanted to have a Super Bowl party, but I didn't have enough seating. Wanted to go out to the park, but I didn't have a cooler and it was 100 degrees and my drinks would be hot immediately. So I kept running into all these situations. And since I was new in town, I didn't have any friends to borrow from.
Mhm.
I wasn't, Facebook groups weren't as big then. Now I would just post in a Facebook group and whatever. But so I was running into this problem. And a big thing for me is waste. Like I didn't want to buy a bunch of cheap things and throw them away. So I kind of started looking into where I could rent items like that, just maybe a few chairs for a Super Bowl party, a table, a cooler, and there wasn't anything like that. You could rent 60 chairs for your wedding, but you could rent 80 coolers for a festival, but there wasn't anywhere where I could just rent a cooler for the weekend and give it back at the end.
Yeah.
So I started kind of looking into, why doesn't that exist? I'm a big believer in that there's like, I know now, even especially there's like a reason why things happen. I remember there's things that our customers get frustrated with about us. I know now why businesses do things the way they do. So I kind of figured there must be a reason, but I found a bunch of companies in California and Boston that did things a little bit similar. So I took their most popular inventory. They would like publish it on their website or they would tweet it. One of the COOs of one of the companies would tweet everything that was rented that weekend. And so I
That's
have like a giant Excel sheet and I just started taking all that information. And it was when I put it all in Excel because it was easy to see like the most popular things and they still are the most popular things for us. So tables and chairs, vacuums, carpet cleaners, wheelchairs, things that you are expensive, but you need a high quality version of.
mhm.
So I just kind of started doing that on the side. I was applying to jobs, but I was also kind of working on this idea.
That's so
And yeah, so that's where I got all of the beginning ideas for the inventory, just kind of see what people would rent. If it was the same thing I would rent, got all the information. Then I stopped applying for jobs because I was like, this is really interesting. This is something that I would like to create so that I could use
yeah.
it, so my friends could use it, so new people moving to Austin could use it. So it was really born out of necessity and not, I wanted to read those things. So in a way, yeah, I was doing it for me. And for other, I was like, if I wanted this badly, I'm sure other people do as well. So I had that Excel sheet of the most popular item, and then I had some money saved from my previous job because, like I said, Richmond was cheaper. And I actually rented out my apartment on Airbnb. I would rent out my second bedroom. So I had money from that
Oh
too.
my gosh.
Yeah. So because I had a two bedroom, I didn't need two bedrooms. So I
Yeah.
rented it out on Airbnb. So I started working, stopped applying for jobs and started working on this idea, trying to bring something like that to life. So do we keep going? Like halfway. Yeah.
I
So
keep going, yeah.
I stopped applying to jobs and started working on Heron, and started acquiring inventory slowly on Facebook Marketplace, things that people had bought, champagne glasses, whatever, and eventually moved that inventory into a storage unit. Everything. Meanwhile, I was also making the website, getting all
Mhm.
that ready, figuring out how I was going to track the inventory. So I was kind of doing two things simultaneously, but my memories are mostly of acquiring inventory and moving it from storage unit. And then I got more inventory. I needed a bigger storage unit. So those were my original stressful memories. But so I did all that. And by about March of 2020, I was kind of like ready. February, March, I was as ready as I'd ever be. I mean, I did design the website on Shopify, which I um, wholeheartedly recommend to people. It's just too easy. Even now, it's just too easy. I love Shopify, and our website still looks fantastic. And
It does.
we hear like good things about it. I look forward to having a professional do it one day, but for right now, I'm very happy with Shopify. So I designed the website, bought the inventory, and then it was about February, March. And honestly, I was very nervous. I had done so much work and I had like procedures for everything. I'd done all the website, but it was scary, right? I never really thought about what it would feel like when I got to the point of like making the website live and kind of like putting myself out there. And I feel like whenever I hear people talk about starting their companies, they're like, yeah, I like, it was all I thought about. I was so excited, and I was excited, but I was terrified. I had and I had done this all secretly, like privately, because I didn't know if anything would break down at any
Yeah.
time. And so I had some friends, but so it was like February, March, and it was time to take my website live, and then COVID happened. And honestly, I kind of used it as an excuse for a couple of months. I was like, oh, I can't start a business now. What
Yeah.
would I do? I mean, I was scared, and it seems so silly now, but yeah, I was scared. I'd done all this work and so put it out there into the world was like scary.
Yeah.
And so May 2020, I launched and I posted on some groups I'm in Austin and got a few orders, but I just felt like I didn't know what to do, like how to
Yeah.
grow my business from there. I didn't know that many people. And I'm sure like half the I was like blinded by fear, but I didn't know what to do. So I had a few orders over the summer in May, and that was mainly people that knew me or people who
Yeah.
were recommended by friends that were like, oh, someone started a new startup, try it
Yeah.
out. So that was the beginning. And that was good too. I had some time to like work through, figure out how delivery would work. So September of 2020, I started listing our items on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. And so I would put them up. And a lot of people come to Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist wanting to not pay full price for something. Like
Yeah.
they don't need it. So that's when business actually took off. When we started getting orders was when I made those Facebook listings on Facebook Marketplace, which is where things are supposed to be for sale. And
Yeah.
sometimes people send me mean messages and I'm like, listen, I
No.
I get what you're saying, but people rent from me all the time, every single day from these listings. So the proportion of people who are upset to people who are renting is pretty low. But I will say the first time I got a message that was me and I was like, this website for things for sale. I was so sensitive about it. And now I just started replying and telling them what I told you. So yeah, that's how I got to September, the March to September, March, May. May is when I got my first orders. March is
Yeah.
when I like turned the website on. But if anyone is listening to this and is terrified. I was scared to like tell people. I don't know why I can't like put my finger on it. I guess it's such a vulnerable thing to have like created something and then try and make it work.
Yeah. I'm curious. So, like, take me back to like that first order. So that first order comes in. I mean, like, what goes on through your mind? Is it like,
Yeah.
oh, smokes, like, I actually need to like do something now, or like,
Yeah, no, sort
what's
of
the first order?
because
Like, what do
yeah,
you?
no, like literally, I was like, oh my god, I have to like I have to deliver this order. This is like, yeah, I have to do it now. I mean, because in my head, part of me is like, well, if no one ever orders, then no, I'll just sell the inventory. No big deal.
Yeah.
No, when I got that first order, I was like, oh my God, I'm a real business. So I get the order. It was a movie night bundle. That was like pretty much all that was rented. People were doing like outdoor movie nights
Mhm.
instead of big birthday parties, which was fun. I did have a good pandemic business because a lot of our stuff is outside.
Mhm.
So it was a movie night in a ranch, I didn't know where that was at that time, but it was like 30 minutes of that. It's a big community right outside of Austin. And so I went to my storage unit right at that point. I was still in 3 indoor storage units.
Yeah.
So I had started out with 1 outdoor unit. I'd moved to 2 indoor, and then I moved to like this 3 biggest storage units you could get in
Yes.
Austin at a Cube Smart. So I go to the Cube Smart. I literally wrote her like a note. I was so over the top. Now I'm embarrassed. I was like, thank you for your order. It
Oh,
was
that's
so
good customer service, though.
yeah. And I had it was just I'm sure they were like, "What is happening here? I just ordered a movie night." But, I had to go drop it off and I had my I was so terrified. My boyfriend, George, came with me and I was like, "I cannot do this. I'm terrified." He's like, "You have to do this. Like, they are waiting for
That's
your
so
order."
cool.
So he came with me, emphasis on the being scared. I feel like I never heard people talk about that. But yes, I was terrified. I don't know why, even just to deliver.
Yeah.
But it's just scary. Like, I had made something, I put it out there, and now someone wanted to use it, and that's I don't know. It was this crazy feeling, but I feel from that very first order even to now, I feel such, like, a sense of obligation to the order. Sometimes people are like, "It's not that serious. It's like, it's cornhole." And I'm like, "No, it's, like, the main part of their tailgate. Like, this is their event at the tailgate because you can tell people give us a lot of information, which is nice. They just share, like, why they're renting from us, and I felt such a, like, commitment to all my customers for using us for their events, and
Mhm.
especially, like, the wheelchairs, the knee scooters. People are waiting for those to arrive so that they can start
Yeah.
living their life again with these injuries. So that's kind of what helped power me through. I had to get over it. We've never canceled an order or altered an order. And that's really important to me. I mean, I would drive to Dallas at 6 a.m. to pick up something if it was sold out and drive back. That it's really important to me that people can, for 2 reasons. One, they just trust us as a business, but also if we're going to get people to replace buying things with renting them, they need to be able to trust that, like, before they have the party, the vacuum will arrive and it'll work
Yeah.
and they'll be able to vacuum their floor, or they're not going to stop buying these things. They're going to keep buying them because they don't have a dependable place to rent them from instead. So that kind of like obligation is what got me through being scared, as silly as it might sound. So yeah, that first order, I went over to the storage unit and picked it up. I put it in my car. I just had my personal car, which always made me feel a little awkward because I'm sure people were like, before I got the van really changed delivery for me, but I would drive in my personal car, put the back seats down, load up the orders. So the big part of how we work is offering free delivery. And we
Mm.
deliver in 2 windows, 9 to 12 and 2 to 5. And in those 2 windows, the van leaves the warehouse with everything that's going out that day, but it
Yeah.
also picks up all the orders coming back. So we are picking up and dropping off orders
Um,
simultaneously. And sometimes we'll drop off on busy weekends. We might just drive a mile down the road or even in the same neighborhood of pickup drop off. And that's how we're able to offer free delivery because we're able to put all those orders on just maybe a 20-mile route,
yeah.
drop off and picking up.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, so what does like the route look like? Let's just say like you get like 20 people that are going to use like your frozen blender or
Yeah.
your snow cone machine, your chocolate fountain, which are all on the website. It's really cool to like check out to like see what
Yeah.
you have. But let's just say like people order 20 things or like 20 different people order 20 different things. I mean, take me through like the logistics of it. I'm like really curious
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
works.
Okay. So we use a website for a backend software called Bookable. It's a European rental management.
Okay, cool.
It's mainly used for bigger things like electronic rentals where you might only have like 50 items total, maybe less than that. Tractors, big things like that. But we use it for like another big part of Heron is that all the inventory is up to date and you don't have to contact us. So for traditional rental services, which sometimes people ask me, they're like, well, then anyone could do this and start offering. And I'm like, that would be great. Because right now the rental, I'm not sure if that's what like put this out of business is the whole rental industry taking a step forward and you're not having to, then
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Then everything got easier for everyone. But right now, if you want to rent something, typically you have to, whether it's like a speaker or chairs for a wedding, you have to email the company and say, "Hi, I'd like 60
Wow.
chairs," on like a form on their website. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why they don't just do what we do, but I don't get it. By all means, please take it's bookable, everyone, if you want to
Yeah.
start using it. But
Free
you know,
information.
yeah, free information. Please make your rental services better. So you have to email and say, I want like 60 chairs and wait for them to get back to you. And then they say no, and you reach out to someone else. So on our website, you add the item to your cart and Bookable on the back end keeps track of all our orders and our availability. You add it to your cart and adjust the dates and check out. If you're able to check out, then the item's available. You're good. So we get those orders come in and Bookable organizes them for us by day. And we have everyone's addresses, the delivery window they chose. So we get all the orders ready. There are route planning software, but we don't use that yet. They're pretty expensive because they use a lot of data.
Yeah.
And Google Maps is pretty efficient with route. You can just add stops. So you can add stops, rearrange the stops. So it doesn't really take us that long. So we use Google Maps, plan the route, and print it out. The van's loaded up and everyone's orders are all ready to go and tagged.
Yep.
And yeah, so we just start driving from the warehouse and it's actually not too complicated. And people have so many questions about delivery, like thinking that it's not sustainable, but because we're dropping off and picking up at the same
Mhm.
time, we can handle a lot of orders in a window in pretty close area. So the whole route might only be like 30 miles total. So at 50 cents a mile or 60 cents a mile, which is like the IRS reimbursement rate, you're talking about like $15 for
Nice.
hundreds of dollars per delivery. And
Yep.
that's an oversimplification because there's, labor and all that, but it's not the expensive time consuming thing that people imagine in their head. The route they're all under 3 hours and we're able to fit all that stuff in. We had to narrow in the beginning. We delivered as far away as Georgetown and Buda, and I would love to still deliver there, but we had to like narrow our delivery windows. We got busier. So I hate that. And I've had customers I had to call that were some of my first customers.
Yep.
And, I'd hate that. But it's the only way it works is kind of like narrowing the window a little bit. So yeah,
Mhm.
the delivery is actually like a lot more simple. It's just a printed route and we put it in and start driving. Drop off just takes a minute. Same with pickup. We'll send like reminder texts to have your stuff outside. But one thing people get frustrated with us, which I feel like having a business has taught me to be so much more patient with things that I think are like ridiculous somewhere
Yeah.
because there's probably a reason. So a lot of people, so you agree at checkout that you'll have your stuff out. When we deliver your order, we remind you when you have to have it out, and then we'll
Yeah.
send reminder texts now. So most people have their stuff out, but sometimes people forget, and we get that. We'll let you return it to the warehouse for free. But we're not trying to like make your life hard. We're just trying to complete our business. But people will be like, "You didn't knock, or you didn't call." And if we were to get out and knock at every stop and wait for you to go get your
Yeah.
stuff, I only have 3 hours to complete all
Yeah.
these drop offs and pickups. So even I just say I just have 10 orders in that window. If I spend 3 minutes knocking, waiting, that's 30 minutes. I've lost 18% of the window knocking and waiting. So that's why we don't do that. If any of our customers are listening, we would love to, but there's little things like that that add up really quickly for a business with time or money. And that's why we do things the way we do. But that's the only way delivery works, truly, is by just leaving it on the doorstep.
Yeah, I feel like because that would aggregate over time, like, yeah, I can wait a minute for you, but I have to do X amount of deliveries, and over time, that's a lot of time.
And I tell people sometimes they're frustrated, but I'm like, how would you feel if your order didn't arrive in time for the birthday party because we were waiting for
Yeah.
somebody else to get their chairs? I'm not trying to be difficult or lecture you, but I just tell them, just imagine what if I was just waiting. And then we also run the risk of if we like knock on the door and are waiting for you to come, that your order is not ready. And so then you're like, wait 1 minute, let me get it
Yeah.
together. And I don't have those minutes. I'm doing the
Yeah.
deliveries.
Seriously.
So that's why we like do everything we can. It's really important to me to be like fair and honest. And so even when people are upset, normally I just kind of wrote how would you feel if you didn't get your order?
I'll
Like
throw it back to you,
yeah,
actually.
you would be really frustrated at us. I feel like a teacher sometimes or something. But I mean, you would be really mad at us if it didn't come. Would you like our excuse that we were waiting on John Smith's chairs to be
Yeah.
loaded up outside? Like, you wouldn't like that at all. You would say John Smith needs to have his chairs outside. So those kinds of things have been big learning experiences, and drawing boundaries. Like, I know that's people use that phrase a lot, but really drawing boundaries, like we cannot knock on your door or wait for your order
Yeah.
to get out. Those kinds of things like really changed Heron drastically because people respect us more now that we're less lenient, and
Yep.
there's respect us more, and we have less problems now that we are less accommodating to you not following the rules. But I think the important caveat is we send reminders as you like agree. So yeah, we're not. And all you have to do is, I love Autumn because I used to feel so bad about it when people were frustrated, but Autumn would say, Emery, you're literally driving to their house. Like
Yeah.
all they have to do is put it outside. You don't have to clean it. We do all the cleaning. She was like, what more could you do? Like, you texted them. All they have to do is open their front door. So I appreciate having someone to help put things in perspective for me like that.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, so, like, what are, like, the different hats you wear? Because, like, obviously, like, you started the company, you help with, like, deliveries. Like, what are all, like, hats that you wear? Like,
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So we are looking to now that we have like really good processes, and
yeah.
we have great organization in the warehouse. We know what products are popular, all that stuff. We have like a great foundation, and we are looking to grow and raise money, expand. We've never run any advertisement. All of our orders come from Facebook Marketplace,
Wow.
Craigslist. Now we rank on like Google Maps. So if you like open your phone and search ice cream or something, for us, it's if you search like wheelchair rental or folding chair rental, we'll show up on maps, and then we rank for like a few different
That's
products like
awesome.
laser tag, karaoke. Yeah, that's been a game changer. It's crazy how ranking on Google, it changes everything. The orders we get are bigger. Everything's because I'm not having to like fight for every single order on Facebook
Mhm.
Marketplace or Craigslist or next door post, whatever. So all that to be said, we're looking to hire people to do this.
Mhm.
Some of these things I'm going to tell you I do, but let's see. So I do the deliveries. We're open 7 days a week. So I do all the delivering. I know for now we do all the maintenance and cleaning of the products. The maintenance is hard, a lot of time on YouTube, but
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of time. But now once I know how things work, it gets a little better. But so I do all the maintenance. Well, Autumn and I together. Delivery, marketing, everything. I can't think of it. Running the website. What else? Yeah, literally everything. We don't have anyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, so this has been, like, really operating for 2.5 years now, somewhere, if my math's right. I mean, like, how have you changed as, like, an entrepreneur? You're doing all of this different stuff. I'm sure you've seen yourself grow, like, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, but I mean, like, reflecting on that, like, How have you seen yourself?
I think probably honestly the biggest change I've seen is in me is being like confident in what we're offering and how we're running things. Like I was saying back to Autumn being like, Amber, you're literally driving to their house. Like
Yeah.
what more could you do? Like go disassemble it. You can't do that at those price points. But when I started, I was really, yeah, I just wasn't, yeah, the simple thing is just not confident in what I was offering and that I was doing things correctly and fairly to customers. I'm like an extremely fair person. And so I kind of
Yeah.
felt like I should always be doing more. So setting boundaries in general with customers,
It's interesting.
with, yeah, that's been like my biggest growth is
Mhm.
being okay. Also, um, something is we can maintain things perfectly. Everything's great, but something's going to break.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And at some point, we do like a ton of research, like entire work days before we buy products. So we buy really good stuff and we actually don't really have any problems. I think I've only had something break that I need to replace like once or twice, but
Here.
that was a big, just that it wouldn't be perfect.
Yeah.
A lot of just like acceptance, like it's not going to be perfect. Someone's going to have a problem with us. Like they're not going to like something we did. They're not going to like, and that there's nothing I can do about that. So like boundary setting also in my mind, because I would spend a lot more time. It seems so silly now, worried about if a customer was like asking a question, like, oh, we didn't do this. Okay. It's okay that it wasn't good up this time. Next time, address their question. So the next customer doesn't have the same question. So like if something's confusing about the projector or instructions, and I used to spend so much time dwelling that it wasn't like a perfect experience. And I'm so much better now about just it is what it is. You know, I didn't have that instructions perfect. I hadn't set this up well enough so it was so easy for them, but that's okay. Most of our customers are really nice and
Most.
well, pretty much, oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The vast
You just
majority.
put it down.
Some people just aren't that nice. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not nice people, and
Yeah.
you can kinda see that, and that's okay. But just kind of accepting things that I could do everything in my power to make something perfect for someone, and whether the outside world, like, that this product broke, it had nothing to do with me, that was a big thing, and just me not being so, like, because I was gonna, like, run myself out of being able to do this just by wanting everything to be perfect all the time. And I could not
Yeah.
let go that there might be problems. And as soon as I let go, I feel like there were less problems. 'Cause I was spending so they would just. I mean, I would. So when we deliver the text or when we deliver your order, we do a lot of things over text message. So I tried to build a company that like I would want to use, and I don't like talk on the phone. So you never have to talk to us at all. Most of our customers don't talk to us, but if you do need to, you can just send us a text message and
Yeah.
we will reply. It's like, oh, hey, are there extra batteries? Whatever. That's what
Mm.
I would want rather than calling, waiting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to spend every Saturday night just like staring at my phone, waiting for something to go wrong. And now I have like a time where we don't offer customer service anymore, which is
Yeah.
totally fair, like a boundary. You know, if you haven't set up your product by 10 p.m., I'm sorry. Like that we are still a normal business. You can text us, but after 10, sometimes I'll turn my phone off. I'm just like having a chill night because you should have set your product up by then, you know, that kind of thing. So I think the biggest growth I've had is just accepting everything's not going to be perfect and
Yeah.
also having the confidence in what I'm offering to know that I was doing my best. And if something goes wrong, it is what it is. And just also boundary setting with customers. And that's just made things so much easier. So we were getting like walked all over before Autumn, when you listen to this, before you got there, I've told you 100 times. Autumn changed the game. Autumn was like, Emery, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're not like apologizing for every little thing. Like things happen and you need to draw a line in the sand that your products need to be outside or you need to rectify it yourselves. It's not up to me to like drive back down there or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you like have done like so much and like you're like really conscious of that now, like setting boundaries. Sounds like you've like have gone above and beyond for like some customers. So I'm just like
oh
curious, like
yeah.
what's like the scrappiest thing like you've done with Heron?
Oh, well, probably like going above and beyond. We do that a lot. Like I'll let people, because I did start this to help people and make people's lives easier. And that doesn't always fit into like the noon cutoff. We do offer same day delivery because it's just not that hard to add like a spot cleaner to the route or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But life doesn't always like fit neatly in that noon cutoff. So actually, literally last weekend, someone reached out on Facebook. We have something called a slumber pod, which is like a blackout curtain for a crib. So like if you are sharing a room with a baby, you can like have the lights on and stuff and they're still sleeping. Yeah, it's so cool. It's such a cool product. And it's such a good thing to rent because you really only need it when you're like traveling with a baby. And some parents don't ever do that, which I totally get. So she actually reached out on Facebook and said, like, we are staying downtown at this hotel and we thought we were gonna have 2 bedrooms.
Hmm.
But we don't. And so that literally once the baby goes to sleep, they just have to sit with the lights off. I mean, they couldn't do every time they go to the bathroom, so it would just be so hard to share a room with a baby without any sort of like curtain or whatever. So she messaged. So I went back to the warehouse and got that. I mean, she was downtown. It was like a convenient order, but I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, just place your order for tomorrow. I'll fix it. So if stuff like that, like knee scooters, wheelchairs, there's no cotton candy emergency, but
Yeah.
I haven't done that. But the crazy, so we'll do that. I do want to like help people, and that's why we're doing this. So we will double back and go pick it up, make a special trip for you or something like that. But like the craziest above and beyond customer need
Yeah.
was one time this was the off season. So like January and February are really slow, which is good. It gives us time to like get new inventory, get everything organized. But this was like a February or March movie night rental and I deliver it and it was a slow day. So I'm back at home. It was an afternoon window and they call and they're like, the remote doesn't work. I'm like, that's just so weird for the projector. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, I just don't even know how it's possible, but I can't really argue with you when you say the remote doesn't work. Like, it's like when Amazon asks you to prove you didn't get a packet. What do I do? Like, show me
Yeah.
the remote. So
So you take
I,
photo.
right. It's like, take a video of it not working. I don't know. So I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'll be I'll be right there. We have like backups of things and like I'll be right there with like another remote. So I just brought them a whole new projector and I was like, here, I just dropped off the same projector. Just use that remote. Maybe it's a
Yeah.
problem with the projector, whatever. Here's a second projector. And this is our like infamously easy projector. It's a LG smart projector. I love it. It's very expensive, but I would recommend it to people because it's like the LG TV interface. So you can log on to Netflix, whatever. It's awesome. So they call like an hour later and they're like, this remote doesn't work either. And I'm like, this is just not possible. Like we checked all this stuff really. We replaced the batteries and they're like, this remote doesn't work either. And I'm like, this isn't possible. This is not possible. So so then and the customer's like frustrated. They're like, these remotes don't work. They're like, we spent so much time. We have this party and the remotes don't work.
Yeah.
So I go down and I'm like, I'm just gonna come. I'm just gonna come set it up. I'm sorry, don't spend any more time on it. But I drive down there and it's the middle of the day. And this customer been trying to set up the projector in the middle of the day, which
Mhm.
projectors don't work in the middle of the day. So the pro- the remote was working, but you couldn't see the image that the remote was
Yeah.
working because it was the middle of the day. and and it was sunny outside. So I set up this projector and the screen in this person's backyard. And they kind of like, after they realized that they just couldn't see the screen and that they were setting up a projector in the middle of the day. They got like a little defensive, kind of like, well, how? And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't have that many customers trying to sign up in the middle of the day. But I just set it up. I left. Everything was good. But when I got down there, I was like, the projector's not working because it's the middle of the day. That's why. But I'm happy I went down there and got it fixed for them rather than being upset. But that was a good back to what you said earlier, that was just a good moment for me. I wasn't freaking out. Maybe both remotes were broken. That sucks, but I'll go fix this because you don't need the remotes. So that was definitely the craziest thing I've done because that was not my fault at all. But once you're down there, what am I supposed to do? Be like, you need to go set this up in the dark. So I set it all up. Everything is good. I think they had a good night. But yeah, that was definitely the most frustrating thing that's happened. But it's fine. It's things like that'll happen. So well,
I love it.
all
And
good.
yeah. So one more question for you as we wind down on time. I'm just curious, you look back, let's rewind to 2027. What would have to happen within the next 4 years for you to like really look back and be like, wow, like we have made a ton of growth.
Yeah. So definitely hiring more employees, and it's kind of limiting to what, because the delivery driver too, and it's like 9 to 12 and 2 to 5. I could be gone on a Tuesday, like all day, delivering. So hiring more employees. Definitely, I look forward to having some more partnerships. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us with hotels, a
Yeah.
lot of ways to like make people's lives easier. I've forgotten my computer charger at a hotel, and I expected they would just have those downstairs. Like once people have forgotten, I don't know, maybe that's like entitled, but they're
Yeah.
like, no, we don't have computer chargers down here. Like
Yeah.
we're a hotel front desk. We don't just keep a whole, they were nice, but they were like, why would we have a computer charger?
Oh, interesting.
So stuff like that, a lot more partnerships, definitely expanding to other cities in Texas. We actually have customers drive in from San Antonio and Waco for our wheelchairs and knee scooters. We're some of the only people renting them in the way that we do, not a big like medical,
Yeah.
because a lot of insurances, if you just have like a sprained ankle for 2 weeks, they won't cover, you know, a knee scooter. But you don't
Yeah.
want to buy one. They're like $140. So we have customers drive in from San Antonio or Waco literally today to return knee scooters and wheelchairs, really expanding to other cities.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Actually, last question for you is you're a huge Jags fan. And so we have to keep this on track for next year. What's a projected record for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the
Oh,
2020?
for the Jags? Okay, I'm thinking, how many games have we won this season? I mean, I lost track. Once we made the playoffs, when we won the division, none of like ESPN even had graphics ready. It was just like a picture of our logo, and it was like the division. That was like the highlight of my life. I have screenshots. I'm like, you guys didn't even have graphics ready. Okay, I'm thinking, God, I feel like I've never been put on the record with stuff like this. I'm nervous. Let's say we're going to the Super Bowl next year.
Okay. I like it. I
How
like
about that? I feel confident. I feel confident. I feel confident. In the next 2 years, we're going to the Super Bowl, and I'll be there. I'm
Awesome.
excited.
Well,
It's been a lifelong dream of mine.
I appreciate it. AnnMarie, thank you so, so much for joining us. All your links will be down from below for people to check out. But thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed this conversation. You were great.
Yeah, thank you for having me.